Today's tag is the Sailor Moon tag, started by StarDustPanda, and I was not tagged, but I saw it on yesmissjane's channel, so I decided I wanted to do it. So let's get started. First is Sailor Moon, a book with a lost princess. This one was a little bit difficult because Cinder is the obvious choice, but I guess I will go with The Princess Diaries by Cabot. She's not exactly lost, but she doesn't know she's a princess, so I think that counts. Number 2 is Sailor Mercury, a book with a doctor in it. I have chosen The Girl with All the Gifts by Carey. This has an evil doctor in it. I guess she's not actually evil. She's kind of like warped by the things that have gone on in the world. But yeah, she's a doctor. She's in the book. It's a pretty cool book if you haven't read it. Number 3 is Sailor Mars, books with ravens in or on it. I'm going to go with an obvious and say The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I have read the first and second books, and I'm going to read the third, and the main characters are called the Raven Boys because of the school they go to. So, we'll go with that. Number 4 is Sailor Jupiter, a book with a garden in it. A garden or nature. I chose The Freedom Maze by Delia Sherman. This is kind of an older book, and it's about a young girl who is spending the summer at her aunt's house or something like that in 1960, and it's got some time travel and other things, but the most important part is the garden with the maze in it, so we're gonna go with that. Number 5 is Sailor Venus, a book with a love triangle in it. There are so many love triangle books. I have chosen Clean Sweep by Ilona Andrews, about a magic innkeeper, and the love triangle for her is between herself, a werewolf, and a vampire. Sound familiar? But yeah, the love triangle isn't a huge part of the book, but it does exist, and it goes on to play a part in the second book, which isn't out yet, but is being published bit by bit, not published, posted bit by bit on the author's website. So those are the inner planets. Moving on to the outer planets, number 6 is Sailor Uranus. A book with racing. I think there's racing probably in a lot of books, but I couldn't come up with anything, so I chose The Dream Thieves, the second in the Raven Boys cycle, the Raven cycle. 2 characters, Ronan and Kavinsky, are... Well, Kavinsky is definitely a road racer, and Ronan, I guess, sometimes does, so yeah, there's some racing going on in that book, car racing. Number 7, Sailor Neptune, a book with a named musician. I chose The Master Harper of Pern by Anne McCaffrey, because Master Robin is my hero, and he is a musician. He's a harper, is what they're called, and the whole book revolves around, you know, his history and stuff like that. I love the Dragon Riders of Pern series. Now I want to reread it. Number 8, Sailor Pluto, a book with time travel. I will say this many times, and I have said it several times before, but I do not like time travel. I don't like it. No. But still, I have a book for you. That it was actually halfway decent, and I have reviewed it before. It's Spell or High Water by Scott Meyer, and there is a lot of time travel in that book. Actually, the first book too, they're all about time travel. time traveling back to the medieval ages, to Atlantis, and so on and so forth. It's a great series. If you haven't read it and you like fantasy and gaming, you probably should. Number 9 is Sailor Saturn, a book where a named character dies. So many choices. I'm going to go with The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. The whole story revolves around a woman, Vita Winter, maybe her name is. She's an author, and she is dying when the book starts, and there's also like a mysterious murders and deaths and things like that, so lots of named characters die in that book. So those were the 9 planets. She has 2 bonus questions. One is Chibi Sailor Moon, a book with a child being the protagonist. Again, there are so many choices, but I'm going to go with The Phantom Tollbooth by Norton Juster. It is one of my favorite books. I reread it every few years, and it never stops being wonderful. I think the main character, Milo, is about 10 years old, so totally counts. And last is Tuxedo Mask, a book with a character who wears a mask, and I had a hard time thinking of one, even though I'm sure there must be many, but I decided on The Assassin's Curse by Cassandra Rose Clark. The main character, the assassin, wears a mask because of his facial disfigurement. Not nearly as romantic as Tuxedo Mask, I guess. So that was my Sailor Moon tag from StarDustPanda, and it was a lot of fun to think of those, and I think it was a really neat idea for a tag. So kudos to her. And I don't have anybody to tag. But if you're watching this and you're into Sailor Moon, or you just like the questions and want to do the tag, feel free to do it. It's really neat, and I will put links in the bottom to yesmissjane and StarDustPanda's videos. So yeah. Anyways, until next time.